Let's begin. Number 1. Zombie ant fungus. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing your body's no longer under your control. That sounds like science fiction, but it happens every day in tropical forests. The culprit is a fungus called Ophiocordyceps, often called the zombie ant fungus. It begins when microscopic spores land on an ant's body. The fungus breaks through the ant's outer shell and starts growing inside it. But here's the disturbing part. Instead of killing the ant immediately, the fungus changes its behavior. The infected ant abandons its normal routine and starts climbing vegetation. It travels to a very specific height, where temperature and humidity are perfect for the parasite. Then the ant bites down on a leaf or stem with a deadly grip. Moments later, it dies. The fungus keeps growing. A long stalk erupts from the ant's head and releases new spores into the air below. Those spores rain down onto other ants, and the cycle begins again. Nature created a mind control parasite millions of years before humans ever imagined one. And somewhere in a rainforest right now, another ant is following orders that aren't its own. Number 2. The Haitian zombie drug. Imagine being declared dead, buried, and then somehow returning to life. That terrifying idea is at the center of one of Haiti's most famous mysteries, the so-called zombie drug. One of the most famous cases involved a man named Clervius Narcisse. He was officially declared dead in 1962. His family attended his funeral, yet nearly 2 decades later, he reappeared and claimed he had been conscious the entire time. Researchers began investigating these stories and focused on a powerful toxin called tetrodotoxin, found in pufferfish. In tiny amounts, it can slow the body so dramatically that a person may appear dead while remaining alive. Some scientists believed the toxin could be part of a ritual mixture used by traditional sorcerers. Some cases may have involved mental illness, mistaken identity, or local folklore. So did a secret drug really turn people into zombies? The truth remains uncertain, but the fact that a substance exists which can make someone appear dead is disturbing enough, and that's why the Haitian zombie mystery continues to blur the line between science, fear, and legend. Number 3. Mad cow disease. Imagine forgetting who you are because your brain is literally being destroyed from the inside. That's the terrifying reality of mad cow disease. The story began in the 1980s when cattle across the United Kingdom started behaving strangely. Healthy cows suddenly became nervous, aggressive, and unable to walk properly. Soon, thousands were dying. Scientists eventually discovered something shocking. The disease wasn't caused by bacteria, viruses, or parasites. It was caused by a prion, a misshapen protein that could force other proteins in the brain to deform as well. As more proteins became damaged, the brain slowly turned into something resembling a sponge filled with tiny holes. The crisis grew even worse when researchers realized the disease could jump from cows to humans through contaminated beef. People infected with the human version, called variant Creutzfeldt disease, began suffering memory loss, personality changes, loss of coordination, and eventually death. Unlike most infectious diseases, prions are incredibly difficult to destroy. Heat, radiation, and many disinfectants have little effect on them. To stop the outbreak, millions of cattle were slaughtered, creating one of the largest agricultural crises in modern history. And the most unsettling fact? The infectious agent behind mad cow disease isn't even alive. It's simply a protein folded the wrong way. Yet it can trigger a chain reaction powerful enough to destroy an entire brain. Number 4. The puppet master worm. Imagine a parasite so powerful it can turn another creature into a living puppet. Deep in tropical forests, a tiny worm called the horsehair worm begins its life inside insects like crickets and grasshoppers. At first, everything seems normal. The insect eats, moves, and survives as usual, but hidden inside its body, the worm keeps growing. Eventually, the parasite can become several times longer than its host. Some horsehair worms reach lengths of or over a meter. Then comes the strangest part. The worm somehow alters the insect's behavior. Crickets that normally avoid water suddenly become attracted to it. They march toward ponds, streams, or puddles as if controlled by an invisible force. When the insect reaches the water, it often jumps in. For the cricket, it's usually a death sentence. For the worm, it's freedom. The parasite bursts out of the host's body and begins swimming through the water, where it can reproduce and continue its bizarre life cycle. Scientists are still studying exactly how the worm manipulates its host's brain and nervous system. Evidence suggests it may interfere with chemicals that influence behavior, effectively hijacking the insect's decisions. The most unsettling part: the cricket isn't simply being attacked, it's being controlled. A creature with a brain is forced to commit suicide by a worm that needs water to survive. Number 5. Ancient ice viruses. Imagine opening a frozen Arctic cave and finding viruses that have been asleep for nearly 50,000 years, trapped inside Siberian permafrost. These microscopic organisms were frozen long before the first pyramids were built. In one study, researchers extracted samples from deep layers of ice and soil. Hidden inside were viruses that had remained dormant for tens of thousands of years. Once placed in the right conditions, some of them became active again. One virus was estimated to be almost 48,500 years old. Despite their age, they were still capable of infecting single-celled organisms. Scientists chose viruses that attack amoebas, making them safe to study. But the discovery raised an unsettling question. As global temperatures rise, ancient permafrost is melting faster than ever. Along with frozen animals, plants, and prehistoric landscapes, unknown microbes are being exposed to the modern world. Most would likely be harmless. Many may die immediately, but some researchers worry that a few could survive. The NPC is grateful you watched until the end. For more relatable NPC content, subscribe and leave a like.